Alafia, Amandala, Baby Fahoudie. It's your favorite warrior in the building, Black Panther. Coming today with a special show. But before we get into the show, we have to get into.
You looking at a young black king. Astro project, blast of a tech, pass your neck with the shit to leave a rapper and Rex from the back of a black Acura. Bullet ricocheted and it's swayed and it's passed through your pecs. The assassin wet. All y'all know y'all don't have to go. Sawed off shoddy, make you potty, probably call the law. Me no gangster, I'm no tough, got me child of the most high. I get on the mic and you go, bye bye. Devil don't test me, I throw shrapnel where your chest be. Shooting our family down in the streets. Fuck the police, they ain't marching for me. Pull up, not that Rari, I ain't bad yet. I pull up, out that 85% of mass at. I put this on God, bad black is so hard. Bitch, I'm going back to Harlem in my West African garb.
Yeah, that's my joint right there. Shout out to brother Fortune Favorite, aka Fortune Balesi, aka 93 Ava Rice for the intro for our song. I appreciate that, brother. In all sincerity, I appreciate that. And before we go forward with the show, we also have to acknowledge one of our brothers, one of our elders, I should say, one of our fallen transitioned elders. So let me share my screen. All right. We must honor Baba Ṣàngó Dare Bada Yesin Ajala, who recently passed away. A strong elephant now takes its rest. The father of the Ajala clan transitioned on October 29th. Baba Ṣàngó Dare Ajala was a legend and a strong hero to all of us. The Bale of Ṣàngó priest, which is a chief. He was the Bale of a Ṣàngó priest and an herbalist in Oshogbo. He was also a very skilled batik artist, which has to do with clothing. He was instrumental in the restoration of Ocean Grove, a great father to his children and also to many communities. It was under his influence and guidance and care that his children have excelled to the efficient priests that they are. Baba Ajala was unfortunately battling heart issues, and that is unfortunately what became his undoing. But we know that he is transitioned to the Arun. We know that he is still with us, just not on this side of the plane. He's survived by his beloved wife, and her name is Ifefunmilayo Ajala. So we like to say, Darinako, Odoju Ala, Odoko Alawo, which loosely translates to until we meet by chance, until we meet in dreams, until we meet at the Diviner's Palace. We honor you, Baba Ṣàngó Dare, and may peace be on your family, and may be peace in the Arun. So, in honor of him, I have dressed up in my best Ṣàngó gear because someone on the panel likes to try to outdress me and not tell me that they are putting on traditional African clothing. So, yeah.
Who's that?
I had to do a quick change. Oh, this guy, man, you know, he's a blacksmith. Stuff. I may have met him a few times. Gets on my nerve.
Does it?
This is the Ṣàngó show. Ṣàngó from an Isheke perspective. We are going to be tackling who is known as the king in amongst Isheke traditions coming out of southwestern Nigeria. So, getting right into the first question, Baba Ṣàngó. Baba Ogundiran, can you talk about some of the attributes of the Orisa known as Ṣàngó?
Well, I would first like to start by saying that my knowledge of Ṣàngó is it's not one of the Orishas I know a lot about, but I will share the little bit that I do know. Now, as far as the attributes are concerned, from what I understand, Ṣàngó is thought to one be kind of warmongering in a sense. He's also thought to be a very charismatic character, often to able to perform feats of magic or illusions. He is often thought, sometimes, like I said, to have a character, not, and often sometimes thought to have a temper. And this is part, I guess, of his like warmongering nature. Um, but he's also a very jovial individual. Um, as far as attributes, I guess that's probably what is most commonly known about Ṣàngó, in a sense, that he seems to be a very jovial individual, as well as a very charismatic person, and able to perform feats of magic that like to particularly go around and fighting, from what tradition holds.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And we're going to get more into that topic. Let me shout some people out. Brother Nkosi, Impi, Ashe, and Arrow to the panel in the chat. Appreciate that, brother. Brother Infinite Minds, Shelafiani, Bokbodara. Brother Sean, as always, Alafia, Shelafiani. Thank you for sharing. Jama Ak Hawal Imboka. Thank you, brother Kofi, coming through with the Wolof. Safe travels, Asheo. Yes, safe travels to Baba Ṣàngó. Alafia to Sister Osa Damidola, who is a child of Obatala.
Orisa.
Orisa. Sister Benita Sutton, I appreciate you coming through. Safa Rabbi Muhammad, appreciate you. Sister Anusha, thank you for stopping through. Brother Shakara, another proponent of Kimoyo, I appreciate you coming through, brother. All right, so now that we have shouted out the chat, let's keep going. Can you explain, Baba, the smoke aspect when it comes to Ṣàngó?
So I'm assuming you're referring to the taboo of smoke with Ṣàngó. So from my understanding, smoking for Ṣàngó people, particularly Ṣàngó devotees and people that are initiated to Ṣàngó, should not smoke. But the act of it really has to do with the blowing out of smoke, from my understanding. And this is particularly taboo, as it's thought to mock the elegan of the Ṣàngó, the official mounts. So it is thought to be like a mockery of them. So it's taboo for practitioners of Ṣàngó to smoke. And this is where the idea of the taboo of smoking comes from.
That's deep. So if you're initiated to Ṣàngó, a Ṣàngó devotee, and Omo Ṣàngó, Ṣàngó is the divinity you worship for the betterment of your life, it's taboo to smoke.
One should not smoke.
Cigarettes, weed, cigars.
If smoke is coming out of your mouth.
Oh, man, that's tough right there, boy. You just dropped a bombshell on them, Baba.
Now, also, I would also like to point out that smoke in general, or smoking in front of shrines, is also considered taboo. It's something we do not do, at least not in Isheshe practice.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Because you know,
Now,
Ṣàngó is probably the most popular Orisha, and you know, a lot of men when coming into this culture, they want to be Ṣàngó because they read about him. You know, he got the wives, he got the music, and the lightning and the thunder, and all this other stuff. So they want to be Ṣàngó, but when you tell them they cannot smoke, they may rethink this. They may.
man, you know, now I don't know if this tradition runs all throughout Yoruba land, but from what I understand, it is definitely present within Oyo, in Oyo town,
Ṣàngó's
in
home.
the
Oyo.
right, surrounding areas like Koso, you know, but yeah. Also, I to clarify a statement when I said as far as giving or smoking around Orisha, there may be certain situations that may come up during divination that you may have to do something with smoke around Orisha. This is different, but generally we do not smoke in front of Orisha, period. And from what I understanding for Ṣàngó people don't smoke, period.
Wow. All right, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it first here. So moving on. Throughout you know, in this this Marvel cinematic universe, you know, we're starting to see, you know, our childhood comic book characters come to screen. One in particular is Thor. And there's always a comparison between Thor and Ṣàngó. And I know we've had this conversation before. Can you explain to the people, because there's a perception of, you know, they got the Thor concept from Ṣàngó. Can you explain why this is or why this isn't true?
Well, the problem with trying to do this type of connection and trying to just do kind of an overlapping general idea because one major thing kind of fits is never a good idea. And this is a very good example of this. So the only thing that we really have to connect between the two is lightning. There's nothing else. But in a lot of traditions, the North traditions of, and also the tradition of Thor's hammer or what produces the lightning is actually him beating on an anvil.
Interesting.
In these traditions, he's also thought to be the common man's divinity or the working man's divinity. These sounds like more traits of Ogun.
I was thinking it.
Oh,
wow.
So you need to be careful and do research before. It's never a good idea to try to say this is the same thing as this, because they're not. They're two different cultures, two different people. Just because they have something the same does not mean they're the same thing.
I think that's a very important piece. And you know, the Norse people are Northern Germanic, Northern Scandinavian people, and Loki, Thor, Odin, those are their creations, you know. They created that without any influence from us. And like you said, it's really just being that they're both thunder and lightning gods, but there's so much more to Ṣàngó that is not present in Thor.
Right. And there's two different personality traits backed by two different cultures. So it's like night and day. They're just different. And that's really, that all can be said. They're just different. And they have the similarity having lightning.
It's important because most people don't go to the source you just went to, because you're pulling from the actual Norse mythology. Most people know Thor from Marvel.
Right. Which is not really at all changed so much.
Right.
Even the look.
Right.
And what's a little on that, most people just know about the hammer, don't realize that there's a belt that's magical for him as well that he wears. Most people don't talk about the goats that he rides on a chariot. So there are other traditions that go along with that. There's no reference of Ṣàngó being pulled by two goats on a chariot.
Now Ṣàngó might like some goats.
Yeah,
Right.
we might offer a goat to Ṣàngó, but
Being pulled by no goat.
So it's two different cultures, and that's just the bottom line of it.
Absolutely. Ṣàngó has a few divination systems which we use for communication. Can you talk about the Orogbo, how it's used in divination and worship, and the Erendilogun cowrie shell system, how it's used in communication and divination?
Oh, okay. So the communication with the divinity itself is most often done with the Orogbo. So Orogbo divination, it doesn't seem to be like a standard. It seems like so what I mean by that is sometimes they will use a 2-lobe Orogbo divination or a 4-lobe Orogbo divination, and does not seem to be any standard of which one more people do versus the other. It just depends on which tradition of Ṣàngó that you're learning or who you're learning from my understanding. But it is the way for which they communicate with Ṣàngó. They use Orogbo. In the same way that other divinities we divine with the Obi Obata or the Obi Banjan, we do the same type of communication. And that's what we use the Orogbo for, because Ṣàngó takes Orogbo and not Kolonut.
Let me show the people what an Orogbo looks like. There we go. That is an Orogbo. It's a bitter kola nut. And as he said, breaking it up into 2 or breaking it up into 4, you can see kind of like how they break it up right there. It's usually bit into those lobes. So I just wanted to show the people what an Orogbo actually looks like.
I was actually going to get about to get into that, where an Orogbo you have to bite in half or cut in half, versus an OB will split naturally, or an Obi Obata or an Obi Bantan will split naturally.
All right. Can you get into the Erendilogun?
So the Ṣàngó, the Egbe for Ṣàngó, or the Society of Ṣàngó, has access to the 16 cowrie shell divination, meaning that their priests or people that are initiated and wish to be trained as priests can decide to learn this art of divination. This art of divination is not necessarily used in the communication of the divinity itself, is more used in the communication of Olodumare in regard to a person's lot in life, and according to whatever they're coming to for divination. So it is a little different. But so their priests will have access to literature from the 16 cowrie shell divination. So this means they have access to the Oduosa literature. So this will allow them to do iwori, different types of chants, and will open up the way to do different types of things, such as the Esentaye, the first steps in the world, which we perform for newborn babies at the 3rd day of their birth, and other types of divinations, such as when someone passes away and stuff of that nature. But it gives access to that corpus.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people should know that, the cowrie shells are used for many different things, currency and other things. But in this instance, they're used for communication with the divinity. So let me stop sharing there. Okay, so see, this is why we do this right here. You see, Sister Anusha says, this is the first time I'm hearing this. It's the first time she's hearing this type of information. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry. Sister Latanya says, this is the first time I'm hearing this. So this is why we do these shows, give people general information and introduce them to the traditional side of the tradition. So moving on. Can we talk about Ṣàngó's bead, his ileke, his ide, his you know, his insignia and its original color and what color it is now?
Yes. So let's go ahead and clarify some of the terms
Let's do it.
you use. So ileke, first of all, refers to beads or bead. So this is what this word actually means. So ide itself refers to a bracelet, anklet, or necklace. I know within the diaspora, a lot of times when we hear ide, we automatically think bracelet and we automatically think ifa. But a necklace can be an ide. Just to clarify that. So, as with most Orisa that have insignias, the insignias tend to have names. So the name of the ileke or bead for Ṣàngó is called kele. And kele is the red and white bead. Its original color, from my understanding, used to look something more of a pinkish reddish, and it was all pinkish reddish. There was no white within the ide itself. And this would be the traditional kele.
You have any idea why it changed?
I have no idea, honestly. That would be a very good question to ask probably someone who's more educated about Ṣàngó than I am.
Well, let's give the people a little visual, as I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the original kele or bead of Ṣàngó.
You know,
you can still find this. It's just hard to find.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know whether there might be. I don't know whether it's in Santeria or whether it's Isheshe or whether it's both. But I'm vaguely remembering a story about Obatala and Ṣàngó that may explain why the white was added to the bead.
Mm. They have a lot of stories together, so
yes, they do.
That's plausible. But yes, this is the original color, original bead of Baba Ṣàngó. So I definitely wanted to show the people that.
You have a picture of the more modern kele?
I don't think I do, but it won't be that hard to find it. Let's see here.
You know, just to cover all grounds.
It won't be that hard to find it. Let's see here. No, I don't want to show you that one because you're not gonna like that one.
You find one that actually looked like instead of a piece of jewelry.
It was one with the pendant. No, it was the one with the pendant. Okay, so the one you commonly see today more or less looks like this. So you can see how the white has come into play, where the kind of pink, or as Jay-Z would say, the mauve came into play. Okay, so there's kind of a misconception that Ṣàngó is associated, or his bead is the Aremorun. So can you talk about that briefly?
Okay.
I have a picture of this. So.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if you don't have a picture, I actually have one.
I do have a picture. You know, I come prepared.
So this is a necklace. that is used among several other divinities, but not all of the divinities. It marks someone or lets you know that this person is initiated, that they are married to a particular divinity. It is also used within in marriage rights between people when they get married, from my understanding. So it is also worn among the bride. So this is why you actually wear it. But for Orisa, a devotee that is initiated, it's more of a marking of that person is married to a divinity. And they wear them. It's not something we wear all the time, but typically it's worn during festival times, your own personal festival, or important occasions, or occasions where you might have to dress up appropriately. But it's not typically worn as a all the time, like as you just get up in the morning or wear it as a piece of jewelry.
And this should be coming up. This is what it looks like. The Shagi bead with the one red Iyun bead in the middle.
Yes. So that's also another
So,
important
yes,
thing. In your case, that make up this necklace are the Shigi bead, which is the blue bead, which is predominantly, and one Iyun bead, which is the coral red bead. Sometimes you will find two coral red beads together. Sometimes you'll find one coral red bead in the front of the necklace and another coral red bead in the back of the necklace. Right. There's also some occasions where,
oh, go ahead. You might be about to answer my question.
Occasion where you would see people wear more than one, and this could be for several different reasons.
I've seen kind of like circular, like maybe circular red. I guess they're beads, like kind of attached to the Ire Maroon. Have you seen that before?
I'm going to say no because I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, I have to find a picture for it, but I'll look for that later. But yes, this is the bead that Baba Ogundiran's talking about.
And yes, you will see Ṣàngó devotees use that bead for those that are initiated to and devoted initiated to Ṣàngó, as well as Obatala, Ashun, Yemonja, and several other divinities, but not all the divinities, such as Ogun does not use it, for instance.
Okay.
I do not think Ifa uses it either.
So quickly, I'm going to address this. Is Baba able to speak on the relationship with transition from Shakuta to Ṣàngó? That is in the questions, brother Chakra. Chakra. Be patient. They're in the questions. Goodness. No, but we got you, brother. We got you. Trust me, that will be addressed. Baba Ogundiran, lightning and the significance of lightning coming down in relation to Ṣàngó. Can you speak about that relationship with Ṣàngó and with his rage with lightning? And
oh, okay. So I don't know. I might end up. I don't know if this is one of your questions. So I might end up answering two at the same time. So so a lot of people are not aware that, at least according to some literature, Ṣàngó has more to do with rain than lightning sometimes. And what I mean by that is lightning seems to be a byproduct of his anger or wrath. So he sends a lot of times seems to be more associated in literature with rain. So during the annual festival for Ṣàngó as well is also when they call in the raining season. Now, of course, there's thunder and lightning storms, but the purpose of the festival and bringing that there is to bring in the raining season. So Ṣàngó is highly associated with rain. But when it comes to lightning, lightning, it seems to be a byproduct of his anger or rage. So, for instance, like if lightning hits someone's home and causes destruction and fire fire is thought to be a cause of suffering. So you could see where lightning could be used as a tool to cause punishment on people. So if someone's house ever got hit by lightning and whatnot, it would be the priests of Ṣàngó that are trained to remove the Edunara from that person's house.
You said the magic word.
Oh, what'd I say?
It was another question I had, but let's show the people what Edun Ara looks like since you mentioned it.
And Edunara are the thunderstones. I believe this is caused by what is believed is when the lightning strikes, it is believed that it's hurled down a thunderstone. And that's what causes the streak of lightning. And that's what they pick up from the ground. I believe scientifically it is lightning when it hits the ground and somehow caramelizes the ground into stone. Absolutely.
These are the Edun Ara, or Ṣàngó's Thunderstones. This website is called Ialaje Market. Shouts out to Ifayemisi Elebuibon. We appreciate you as always for fulfilling our orders. So I wanted to give you a little publicity, a little exposure. So these are Edun Ara.
I would also like to say she's very fast at putting out orders most of the time. So she's very quick about getting those orders put out as well. She's been very helpful.
Absolutely. And she, hey, like Baba said, she ships it out, gets to you. So just wanted to show people what the Thunderstones looked like.
I also wanted to make so Thunderstones are just not. So for people that were might watch this and try to get the information to replicate things, just be forewarned. There are particularly things about Edunara that you can look at to tell whether it's a true Thunderstone. I will not get into those, but there are some things that can be looked at. And also, the Edunara for Oya are not the same as Ṣàngó.
Not the same.
Just to put that information out there.
Someone hit me and said, "Are you actually eating cola nuts while doing this broadcast?" Yes, I am. I'm eating some cola nuts, some obi abata. I did a lot of casting and feeding divinities yesterday, so I had a lot left over. It was late, and I didn't feel like being up all night because these do have caffeine in them. So I'm eating them now.
You'll be wired for the next few hours.
And these did also come from Ialaje Market.
Need to get her logo.
I need to get her on the show now that I think about it.
That'd be an interesting show.
Because she is the Araba's daughter.
Yeah, she is.
So that would be an interesting show. Okay. So Ṣàngó, we know there's a historical Ṣàngó that was a king in Oyo. But can you talk about the story of his kingship? A brief synopsis of the story of his kingship in Oyo, and we will get into a name of this person as well. But talk about his kingship in Oyo.
Okay, so so the founder of Oyo, I'm trying to remember, Oramiyan was the founder of Oyo. So he would be, that's what I was going to say. So I wanted to make a better translation of something. The word Oba, we need to really stop translating as king, because it's not gender specific. It just means ruler. So I wanted to put that out there, because sometimes people will say, well, women can't be rulers. I'm like, yes, sir, there have been women Obas. So I just wanted to put that out there. You know, it doesn't mean king doesn't mean queen. It means ruler. And another thing to point out there, they have one ruler. It's not where, like in some European countries, where you had a king and a queen. You have an Oba. There is no other person besides the Oba. Did you get what I'm saying? Right. So Oramiyan was the founder and the first ruler of Oyo, from my understanding. After Oramiyan, I believe came Ajaka, which is considered the brother of Ṣàngó. I've also heard sometimes the sister of Ṣàngó, but I've most often heard the brother of Ṣàngó. This is also the character also known as Dada, for those of you who know who Dada is, which is also another divinity related in and about Ṣàngó himself. So in the time of Ajaka's rule, the beginning of his rule was peaceful. But when war began to break out, Ajaka was not a wartime kind of king, or excuse me, a wartime type of ruler. So his brother at the time, at least according to oral tradition, if my memory serves me correct, is he was living across the other side of the Niger River, and his brother called him to back to the kingdom of Oyo to become king, to be king in his stead, as Ṣàngó was more of a wartime ruler, a general, someone that knew how to fight and was versed in warfare. So this is how Ṣàngó became the third Alafin of Oyo, or at least one of the many stories that explain it. Now there is some confusion to say sometimes that he is the fourth Alafin. Excuse me. I don't know where this comes from. And I don't know where this is any evidence for this. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't know where it comes from. I've never ran across anything like that. The only other person that I can say that is the fourth Alafin is Ajaka, because after Ṣàngó descended or ascended, depending on how you want to look at it, into the earth, Ajaka resumed rule.
So I have this up here for a reason.
Oh,
I know you did. I was going to do that. This is according to Wikipedia.
And I'm about to say, after that, another common divinity you will hear is Aganju, is who ruled after Ajaka. Right. After ruled in the second line. So they're all in the lines of Alafins.
Yes. And Wikipedia actually has this up right here. And me and Ogundiran didn't talk about this prior to, but I did some digging, and everything that he just said is in this Wikipedia article. Founder, Oramiyan. Second king, Ajaka. Third king, Ṣàngó. After Ṣàngó ascends, he became, as you see here, he became regarded as an Orisa. Then Ajaka returns to the throne after the death of his brother. And this name is what is commonly referred to as Aganju. So everything that Baba Ogundiran just said is actually confirmed by this Wikipedia article. So somebody did some research.
I believe Corey is also in that line too, but I don't know where. Corey.
Yes, he's next.
Oh, is he next? Oh, okay.
He's his father, Aganju. So Aganju was his father.
Oh, okay.
And somehow Aganju died when Corey was a child.
Yeah, because Corey is a divinity associated with children.
Oh, wow. It makes sense. So Corey's mother, it's kind of like the same thing that happened in Egypt with King Tut and Akhenaten dying before Tut could assume the throne. So Corey, since he was so young, his mother took over his kingship duties until he grew up. So this is this is available. You guys can look it up. and it talks about the many Alafins, all the way down to our current Alafin, who is still ruling to this day. And it even has in here, in the Yoruba language, Oba, the word Oba means ruler. It has ruler first, and then it has king.
There's also another name that Oyo went by, but it was called, it starts with a K, I think. It's what the Fulani and Hassa called Oyo, but I can't remember the name right now. You might find it if you're studying history of Oyo. You might find that Oyo went by another name as well.
Interesting. So Ṣàngó, according to Brother Ayo Salami, who is a author of Yoruba culture, he wrote the big Odu book that mostly everybody's familiar with. But according to him, and I think I have this book handy. According to him, on page 59 of this book, Yoruba Theology and Tradition, the genealogy edition, this is a 3-part set for people that don't know. It comes with 2 other books. I only have one or the other. I cannot find the third one. Has eluded me.
Which one are you looking for that you're missing?
The green one. Oh, you have it. You shouldn't have, boy, if you'd told me that when I was at your house. But according to this book, after Ṣàngó returned to the sky to live after the children of men, yes, it's that one. The children of men made him angry, so people do not confuse the primordial Ṣàngó with his later character, who was known as Tela, the one who became the king of Oyo. Tela was born with an Edun Ara folded in his palms. So according to the mythology, he was born with a thunderstone. So Tela, according to this book, is the name of the king that we know as Ṣàngó. This is the book. Check it out as your leisure. I will type this name in the chat, because someone's going to ask me how to spell it. And there it is. All right. Nobody brings you that type of information except the MossiWarriorClan channel. Just putting it out there. Let's move on to the Shere, the instrument of Ṣàngó. Let's talk briefly about that, Baba.
Yes, the Shere is used kind of like an invocation instrument to go along with the chanting of the Oriki for Ṣàngó. You could say, at least among Ṣàngó worshippers, if one does not have a Shere, how can one worship Ṣàngó? So it is a very important piece. And it is a separate piece, I would like to add. It is not typically received when you receive implements or scribes for Ṣàngó. It is something that you receive afterwards or in addition to, because it is a consecrated item. But it is used as an invocation instrument in the aiding of calling, or used in the as an invocation instrument when one chants Oriki to Ṣàngó. And there are different types of rhythms for which are learned of how you actually shake it. You just don't shake it when you do it. You're not like, just chanting. That's not how it's done. There are certain rhythms that are done.
Don't be making fun of me on my own show.
There are certain rhythms that are done through different traditions of Ṣàngó, in the way they shake the rattle.
So this on the
Yes.
screen. I found this out the hard way. I had Ṣàngó in my home, but I did not have this. So shouts out to Baba Ṣàngó Shaki, an elegant of Ṣàngó, official mount of Ṣàngó, which we will explain what that is a little later. But he was in Oshogbo. I asked him to bring me one back. I paid him for it. He brought me one back. He is one of the sons of brother Baba Ṣàngó Dare, who we honored at the beginning of this show. So thank you, brother, for bringing back a shere for me, so I can worship Ṣàngó in this traditional manner. Thank you to my Oluwo Oloye Aikuola Iwindara, who taught me how to play this shere, because I was the guy at first just shaking it and chanting. Ṣàngó Lukoso Arira Inaloju Inalin. That was me. And when I visit to his house, he showed me how to actually play it. And I was like, oh, that. And he just showed me one way. Like Baba Ogundiran said, there are many ways to play this shere, many rhythms, as we should say.
Actually, I think Oluwin knows like 3 or 4 himself.
Wow, amazing.
So
now, sometimes these sheres are painted red and white. They use like Efun and camwood, I believe, to paint them red and white.
Efun and Osun, lime chalk and camwood. Yep.
Yep. Now I want to also while we're showing, I want to also show this so people don't do this. This is not a shere. This is a maraca. But I know you diaspora people, and I've seen this. You will go out and buy a maraca and try to paint it red and white.
Look,
like you at a concert. Don't do this.
If you're gonna be in the shay, don't do this. That's all I can say. Don't do this. No.
Ṣàngó don't know the rhythm coming out of this. This ain't it. Do not do this. I had to show that because it's probably somebody watching this like, oh, I got a maraca on my shrine right now.
It may be legit. I do want to point it out so people don't think we're kind of bashing. It may be legit to use in something like Santeria or Lukumi.
Right.
But in Isheshe, no, don't do this.
That's not the standard.
You will look ridiculous. Don't do it.
Yeah, we don't want to make anybody get embarrassed.
Somebody
come over your house and go, what is that?
I actually, just as a sidebar, I don't want to get into it, but I do know of a particular woman that went to Nigeria and brought their Eshu with them. And the people there asked that same question.
Oh, no.
What is that?
Oh, no.
So it's very important to understand the differences. Isheshe is different.
Quickly to answer Shifter Don X, yes, as a historical person and as a Irumale or Orisa, Ṣàngó is described as a male. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the dance one, the Oshe Ṣàngó.
The Oshe Ṣàngó is is a dance one. It is used when he is often. It could be used as he's doing a procession down the street. It could be held as kind of like an insignia by those who are initiated to Ṣàngó. It can also be used as a sacred icon when in need to which to offer offerings to. So they are consecrated. And the spirit can be called to them. But the axe itself that these these carvings are made of. The axe heads are actually to Edunara.
Wow.
Just to point that out, and in some literature, the Edun Ara, or the Edun itself, was given to Ṣàngó by Ogun.
Oh boy, you gonna bring that up today, huh? That's what we're doing.
I'm just saying because it is in Ifa literature. I'm not saying it's in Ṣàngó's literature. I'm not aware whether it is or whether it's not. But just to let some people know, because a lot of times carried over from Santeria, you have this idea of Ṣàngó and Ogun always fighting, and that does not really seem to be the case in Isheshe. There's an instance of a story, but it's just a story.
To answer this question, both.
Yeah, you talking about the question that just popped up?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, that's a very hard topic to really get into. Yeah, because there's so much that interlaps between history, mythology, and a lot of it is lost in history, and it might have even been fit or changed to fit certain narratives as times have changed.
Yes,
and certain people have been brought in, and that might also be true. And I know that since this is going to be one of the questions, we might as well just move into Jakuta. So my understanding of Jakuta, from what I've learned, is Jakuta does not seem to be the same divinity as Ṣàngó. It seems to be an elder divinity that was around, or an ancestor of Ṣàngó. But there are some people that will say Jakuta is Ṣàngó, or an older name for Ṣàngó. I'm not going to debate that because there's a lot of information that you can find, and it might be from place to place. One information is true, where the next information in a certain town it's not.
Right.
So, but Jakuta, from my understanding, my own research, seems to be an older divinity that Ṣàngó kind of took the mantle of, because even in most places where you talk about the days of the week and the names of the days of the week, the name of the day of the week isn't Ṣàngó, it's Jakuta.
And I think this is where the confusion comes to play, where they say he's either the third or fourth Alafin. I think people want to put Jakuta as an Alafin in that pantheon, either before Ṣàngó or after. But as we pulled up earlier, we don't have Jakuta as an Alafin in Oyo anywhere.
So he seems to predate Oyo.
Right. So that would answer this question. Original home of Ṣàngó is Oyo.
Oyo.
And Oyo is in is that Osun State?
Yes. And particularly Oyo town, from my understanding, and Koso, which is not too far away from Oyo town. Because Oyo itself is a big place. I don't think a lot of us kind of realize that. So it's kind of like, to give an analogy, it's like going here and saying Virginia Beach. Well, where in Virginia Beach? Virginia
Old
Beach
Oyo
huge.
or new Oyo?
Old Oyo.
That's a Oyo has moved, for people that do not know, since ancient times, due to war and other things. Oyo used to be another place, now it's another place. So
it's a lot further south from the Niger than it used to be.
Correct. Okay, moving on. This is a big one right here. Can two Ṣàngó devotees get married?
From my understanding, no.
I
have not got.
Can you, like, if one is initiated and one's not?
Well, now you're playing with semantics.
Try. I'm trying to help the folks out. Somebody met
You trying to get me in trouble. That's what you're trying to do. All I can say about this topic is from my understanding that 2 devotees of Ṣàngó should not. Now, whether that devotee has to be by initiation, or whether it could also be a personal devotion toward the divinity, but 2 people devoted to Ṣàngó should not be together.
And why is that?
That's a very good question. I can only speculate. I've never really bothered to ask why, but it might have something to do with the nature of Ṣàngó, that there can only kind of like be maybe like one ruler in a house or one Ṣàngó in a house. You know, I'm speculating, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's like that, because Ṣàngó is a very extra divinity.
Yes.
There's a lot of extra stuff with Ṣàngó.
Even in his worship.
In his worship, his initiation, and even in death. As you could see, if anyone saw any of the video and pictures that were posted of the funeral of Baba, you would get to see some of that. But yeah, Ṣàngó is very extra.
All right. Quick question, because you mentioned rain with Ṣàngó. Is that Odu about him and rain? Is that in Okanran Meiji? Because I know that for people that don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so there's a verse. I don't know what a verse is. I think there's an Odu verse.
Yeah, you sent it to me once. I couldn't find it.
But in there, it's the section in the Babalaos that speak about that. So it's actually the name of a Babalao. But they won't know what I'm talking about anyway. The other thing is there is other literature that does speak about Ṣàngó's significance with rain, particularly if you look at the festival for Ṣàngó, and the whole purpose of it is to bring in the raining season.
Right.
You know, if it does not rain, there's problems.
Right.
So he's very highly associated with the raining season. You know, and of course it storms, but the point is rain.
I remember in that passage you sent me, it says, if there's anyone who knows more about the rain than Ṣàngó, let him come forward.
Right, something like
that.
I know
that's commonly what we think is like a Oya trade or even a Yewa trade or something like that. But according to the literature, it's Ṣàngó.
Well, even there's several stories about this, and even movie depictions. If you look around and go through the movies about certain Orishas, and there's a lot of them about Oyo. But when Ṣàngó and Oya were sitting kind of close, I guess, overlooking Oyo, and he got upset, and they were Oya and they were kind of like battling one another. The reason why he produced lightning and killed his people was by accident. It was out of blind anger, because he could not beat Oya, or as far as one of the stories are concerned. The several versions of the story, but all he could do is produce rain. So out of a fit of anger is how the lightning came about.
This is an interesting thing we should mention.
Right. So this is why lightning is often associated with wrath.
Right. But the interesting thing about that is he could not beat his wife.
Right.
A lot of people, when you say that, they're like, oh no, Ṣàngó is more powerful than it. His wife, Oya, is the real Holyfield.
really, really kind of just butcher it up, but really kind of put it simply, and a real good analogy for it is, and Ṣàngó is a storming, thunderous storm that's going to tear and break everything apart. All Oya does is blow the storm away.
And that's that. This question keeps coming up. We actually answered this. Ṣàngó is both historical figure and Orisa. According to the literature, after he was being a king, he ascended into the earth and became what we know now today is an Orisa. So to answer your question, both.
Now, just to kind of harp on that for a second, there is the idea that
Primordial
people reincarnate.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the primordial divinity will have avatars that come back through time.
Mm-hmm.
So this historical Ṣàngó might actually be an avatar of an original or the primordial Ṣàngó, and the primordial Ṣàngó might be an ancestor of Jakuta. Who knows? Sometimes the literature is so kind of it's too much stuff to really make a definite this is what there is, because there's just too many stories and it changes from place to place.
Sister Anusha, it is Ṣàngó, but spelled with just an Sango. That S has a dot under it, which makes the sh sound, Ṣàngó. And Brother Shifter, we covered earlier in the broadcast why Ṣàngó is not Thor.
Oh, hold on. In that Ṣàngó, there's a low tone over the A and a high tone over the O.
Correct. Okay. Ṣàngó initiation. Why? I should say, why do people not initiate to anything else after they have initiated into Ṣàngó?
Was that a question?
Yes, the why part makes it a question.
The why was okay. So you're asking why you would want to wait until get initiated to Ṣàngó, or
well, more or less. But why do people not initiate to anything else after they initiate to Ṣàngó?
So I don't know the exact reason of why they don't. It may have something to do with the idea and glory of Ṣàngó being Alafin. What more do you need?
The ruler is all I need.
Right. So it might be something simple, but I don't know the exact answer for that. But it is true, at least in Oyo, from my understanding, that once you get initiated to Ṣàngó, you shouldn't get initiated to any other divinity. Now you can get initiated to 5 others before it,
right?
But once you get initiated, it's done or should be done.
It's
nothing else happens.
Interesting to me how everyone has adopted that, even from people that represent different divinities. They kind of honor that, that commitment. It just speaks to the influence of Ṣàngó and the Alafin power coming out of Oyo, because even people with Ifa will tell you, well, if you want to get initiated to Ifa, do that before you go to Ṣàngó.
You hear a lot of that, from my understanding, in the Cuban tradition. I really haven't heard it in Isheshe. I haven't heard it. But in the Cuban system,
yeah, they definitely not doing it.
With no problem. But it wouldn't surprise me if I did hear in Isheshe, just because of this overall the Ifa movement within the diaspora. Is basically taking over everything. And you find that movement is also going on in Nigeria on certain parts. So everything is being influenced by Ifa literature. Everything is according to Ifa, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, particularly if you're a practitioner of Ifa. But when it comes to other divinities, Ifa really should not have the right or say so to dictate other divinities' traditions. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that. Okay, so Sweet Friday. What is Sweet Friday in
Jakuta
relation
Oloyin.
to
So this has to do with them adapting. I'm trying to think of the maybe you can help me with this.
Juma?
The Juma, thank you. What on the Friday Juma that people in Islam do, this has to do with that. So it became, I guess, popular with a high amount of Muslims that are in the area, that those Fridays that everyone would get together, that they would pray. So the traditional community, I just guess, said, hey, there's a good time. Everyone else is getting together. Why don't we all get together? So Jima is a corruption of that word. So it's either called Jakuta Oloyin or Jima Oloyin, which is Jakuta. Of course, we talked about that earlier. And then Oloyin is like the owner of honey. That's where they get the Sweet Friday from. And it's always on a Friday.
Did
And
Ṣàngó
so
pick that up when he went to go live with Muslims?
I'm not quite sure. And I'm not quite sure whether it's a Ṣàngó tradition itself.
Hey, your camera turned a little bit. Bye-bye. You must be having some technical difficulties. While he's getting it together, I'll answer some questions. Did Ṣàngó lose his significance and strength in the diaspora, and do you think that he's been commercialized in America? I don't think Ṣàngó lost any significance and strength in the diaspora. If anything, he gained more influence and significance through the diaspora due to him being extremely popular. I mean, whether you go to Cuba, Venezuela, St. Lucia, Brazil, Ṣàngó is venerated in all of these places, even way more elaborately as far as style and creativity than they may be in certain parts of Nigeria. But I do think there is a bit of commercialization associated with Ṣàngó due to him just being in popular culture more outside of Nigeria. But as far as significance and strength, no, he didn't lose any of that. Ṣàngó is very influential, very significant, even outside of Nigeria. So I see Babo Gundiran has dropped off. Let me send him a message. But we will continue while in his absence. So I want to highlight that Ṣàngó is not the only quote unquote fire, thunder, lightning divinity within the Isheshe paradigm. Ṣàngó is just the fire, lightning, and thunder divinity from Oyo. There are other fire, lightning divinities, even within Oyo. You know, we have Jakuta, we have Aganju, but we have a deity called Ara, which is from the Anago part of Nigeria or part of southwestern Nigeria. We have in Ile Ife, we have Oramfe, who was very influential in the beginning of their classical formation of their society, talking about probably from 1000 AD to 1400 AD. He was very influential. We have Agbona, who's from Ketu. All of these divinities are very influential as far as their influence, their power, their stories. but Ṣàngó just seems to be the most popular one for whatever reason. Ṣàngó influence, he's the one, as Sharaka said. Very strong in the Caribbean. Yes, that is correct. There is a tradition in St. Lucia called Kele, which is the name of Ṣàngó's bead, which we talked about earlier. Kele is the name of the entire tradition in St. Lucia. So these people are very loyal to Ṣàngó. There's also a tradition in, I believe, Trinidad called Ṣàngó Baptiste, which they kind of fuse, Baptist Christianity with Ṣàngó worship. So yes, he is very influential in the Caribbean. Thank you for bringing that up, brother Chakra. Let's see here. Try not to go into the good stuff until you get back, but may have to. Yes, let's do this. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Wait, let me pull it up first. We mentioned earlier that Ṣàngó is associated with magic, or which is called Idan Pipa. Oh, there he is. Woo. All right, there you go, man.
You there?
Give me time.
I don't know what happened. My phone just started reloading. My phone started reloading. So sorry about that.
You got that new phone?
Yeah, so it's still running through a bunch of stuff. So
okay,
sorry about that.
We were talking about I think we just ended the Sweet Friday, but I was going to go into the Idan Pipa, or what's commonly referred to as Ṣàngó magic.
Oh, yes.
Of the Ṣàngó magic.
The Ṣàngó magic.
Now, so before I show this picture, I want to highlight this is not enhanced. This is not green screen. This is not anything I've done to this picture other than screenshot it. I do know the person in the picture. He's the same person that I mentioned earlier who brought me back to Shere from Nigeria. He's the father of the Baba Ṣàngó Dare. I'm sorry, he's the child of Baba Ṣàngó Dare, who recently passed. He is what is called an official mount, and we can weave that into this this question. But I just want people to know this is real. Okay. This is my brother Ṣàngó Ṣàkín. An official mount. An official mount is a person who gets possessed by Ṣàngó often. And we can go into that.
They also have the ability to perform feats of magic. This is why sometimes Ṣàngó is thought as of a magician, able to perform feats of magic. And there are many cases of this, whether that's they're lighting, putting fire on them, sitting on it, eating it. There are some traditions where I even seen them put needles through their cheeks for Ṣàngó. It's all a show of his prowess, his power. And yeah, this is typically performed by the Elegan or the Elegun, depending on how it's pronounced. So yeah, this is what it is. This is the magic of Ṣàngó. And there's other things they do where they may have an object appear in one place and then it goes to another. So in a sense, they are performing artists as well. Yes. They do. It is a trade that they do that is part of the Ṣàngó group. So
and I have witnessed someone do this live, like in person, not brother Ṣàngó Ṣàkín, but there was a gentleman I watched. We had a bonfire going. He had a special gift from Ṣàngó. He reached into the fire, grabbed a log. The log was on fire, and he was actually freestyle rapping when he did it, which was interesting. And he said something. He was like, I can touch this fire and it not hurt me. And he picked it up and then he placed it back in the fire. And I grabbed his hand when he did that. And I looked for, burn marks. None. His hand was just as it was before he started. So I've also seen that person eat fire. I've also seen that person put fire, on their tongue.
Yeah, that's another one where they put hot coals maybe in the mouth or chew.
Yeah,
yes.
Spit them out. And
yeah,
look, I can't explain it. Have no other than it's Ṣàngó.
Yes.
Just what Ṣàngó people can do in certain instances. And Brother Shakeen is an official mount, so he is able to do these things when he goes into his mode, so to speak.
Oh, I would also like to point out that if I remember correctly, the possession dance itself is also called the Lakan dance. The possession dance for Ṣàngó.
I'm writing that down.
My memory is still with me.
Yeah. So, while you were gone, I also went over the other fire divinities. Ara and
got it.
Oramfe and Mona, and Ganju, and these, and Ara from Anago, Oramfe from Ile-Ife, Ogbona from Ketu, and things like that. Let's talk about Ṣàngó's wives.
Oh.
The sister's gonna want to hear this. So, who is Ṣàngó's favorite wife, and who is Ṣàngó's principal wife?
Oh, Ṣàngó's principal wife is Oba.
Is she a river divinity?
Yes, I believe she's a river divinity. Yes, she's also, I believe, somewhat of like a fighting or kind of warrior divinity, or has the capability of being kind of like Oya in the sense that she's able to or has the qualities of being able to fight. Everybody she is able to fight, but in a sense that where Oya sometimes is thought of a woman that grows a beard, meaning that she takes on the masculine qualities when it comes to fighting or warring. So Oba is also known to be a good fighter as well. His favorite wife is actually Oya.
And why is that?
Tradition. I don't know the exact reason why, but there are a lot of references that like the Ṣàngó devotees braid their hair or plait their hair.
Yeah.
This was actually a trait that was liked by Ṣàngó because Oya used to plait her hair. And then one of the the civil unrest that Ṣàngó was getting by his own people is because Oya was touching the Oba's head and plaiting his hair. This is because plaiting is normally associated with women, but this is why Ṣàngó people plait their hair, because he liked the designs, of the way Oya's hair looked. And there's other influences you can see where Oya has influence in there,
So the cornrow movement.
Well, Oya is also known as a divinity of like grace, and has a lot of passion to her. So a lot of the characteristics he I guess would find attracting in that type of, because it's more said something like himself,
right?
Very
interesting.
But
what about his? Oh, go ahead.
Just one more thing. So a lot of people are not aware of, but though I do not know how many wives Ṣàngó actually has, I know of 3, which is the 3 that we just mentioned. I'm sure there is more.
We only mentioned 2. Who was the third one?
Oh, Oshun is also thought to be a wife of Ṣàngó at a time. But there's a time where it talks about 16 river divinities competing for the hand of Ṣàngó. So a lot of people don't even realize there's that many river divinities, and there's more than that. So
that could be a show in itself.
right, river divinities. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I got a lot of names of them, but I think I got like 25 names that I got from Aikuole Windara, Oloye, Oluwin. But
yeah,
I didn't realize until you gave me that information.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I think I know the list you're talking about. When I saw it, there was a lot on there I didn't know about. There was a lot that I knew, but a lot that I did not know. So,
and then he said there were more. He said this was the list he could compile. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, you probably got to remember that every river, every tributary of that river, every probably large body of water that may have some importance to a village, town, or people will probably have some divinity associated with it.
Yeah, so when you're in Nigeria, you see a river. Don't do nothing crazy. Yeah.
Right. it's probably associated with some divinity.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't do nothing crazy. Okay. What about his close relationship with the Orisa of pestilence, the Orisa of smallpox?
Yeah. They are thought to be really good friends and close to one another. They're also a part of a pair of, if you want to call them, warrior divinities, because they all fight. So a part of that group is obviously Ṣàngó, Obaluaye. Of course, you have Ogun in that mix up. You know, and these are typically the rishas that we use to, in a sense, fight or change things. Because of the nature of that divinity. But yeah, they have a very close relationship.
Cool. What about the relationship between Yemoja and Ṣàngó?
In some traditions, Yemoja is thought to be the mother of Ṣàngó. So sometimes you'll see this reflected in some traditions of Ṣàngó, where when they perpetuate Ṣàngó on the Ose Day, they will do something also for Oya. For Yemoja.
Very interesting. Water and fire, so to speak.
Yes. All
right. On my way out the door, I'm going to drop this bombshell. And I know that you're familiar with this story of the young woman that Ogun, during one of the raids, one of the war raids, captured. And Orunmila wanted this woman. You're not familiar with what I'm talking. Okay, so
no. I mean, you know how many stories start with a woman?
All right.
Somebody.
A warring neighboring tribe, prisoner of war. This woman was very beautiful. Ogun wanted her as his wife.
So are you referring to the story of Oramian?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So Orunmila wanted her as his wife, and since Orunmila had the juice, that's what became so. But it is said that Ogun and this woman had already made love before she went with Orunmila, and a child was born. That child became Oramian, founder of Oyo. And Oramian, as we talked about earlier, becomes an Alafin. And later on down the line, we have Ṣàngó. Now, the question is, who is Ṣàngó to Oramian?
Okay, so I've never heard the story with Orunmila. I've normally heard the story with Oduduwa.
I've heard it with both, honestly.
With Oduduwa. And during one of the war campaigns of them, where Ogun took a booty as a slave and ended up sleeping with this particular woman, and it was Oduduwa that ended up taking this woman back and also sleeping with her, and I think making her a concubine or a wife, something of that nature. So this gives in turn gave birth to Oramiyan, which is believed to have been on one side of him really dark skinned, and on the other side like light skin, or sometimes it's pictured as red. And it was thought to be because of the intermingling between I guess the semen of Oduduwa and Ogun. So they weren't sure which one was the father. But to answer your question, it would be Oramiyan would be the historical figure that is the father of the historical figure that we know as Ṣàngó.
Mm. So
So
Oramiyan is Ṣàngó's father.
right. So that would mean that Ogun is the historical Ogun is the elder to Ṣàngó. It would be like his grandfather.
Yep. If you look at that story in the mythology, that would make either Oduduwa or Ogun the grandfather of Ṣàngó. But if we look at Ṣàngó's personality, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm just biased. I think Ogun is the father. And we do know that Ogun makes Ṣàngó's weapons. He makes everyone's weapons.
Well,
Right?
yeah, they're. I mean, they are like. There is a relationship between them. I mean, but you also got to look at it this way. Ogun is almost associated with any male person anyway, for the most part, because of hunting. And most Orisha, whether they're labeled as hunting divinities or not, have probably hunted sometime in their mythology or within their corpus. I mean, if you look at Eshu, he masquerades in a hunter's outfit.
Hunter's tunic. Yes.
Right. His tunic, the digo, the
Obaluaye. There's a hunter's tunic.
Right, on top, yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot of these are hunters. Remember, even the cute little Ṣàngó stories that we're talking about or joke about. In the second one, what's he doing? He's hunting. So
King hunts too. Right. We all hunt.
Right.
One way or the other. So that's all the questions that we have or came up for you guys. So thank you all for coming to the broadcast. Before you ask me, I don't know what divinity or topic we will do next, but I always take suggestions. So you can always email me at MossiWarriorClan@gmail.com. You can always hit me up on Facebook or Instagram for those that have access to me on those platforms. And, we're going to keep rolling. You got anything to close us out, Baba?
Well, I would like to send our condolences out to, as you said earlier, Baba Shakim's, him and his family, and also Baba Wale, his brother. Him to
Yawumi.
Yawumi, send out our condolences
that I don't know their names.
His family, and to their extended family. Other than that, I believe that would be it. Oh no. I know what I was going to say. So as far as our next topic, or and as far as trying to decide which Orisha, I think the question should be, which Orisha haven't we done? Because we've done a lot, haven't we?
Have we?
I think we. So we've done Oshun, right?
Yes.
Have we done the Emonja?
No.
That might be. Oh yeah, I don't think we've done it. Did Ṣàngó lose his certificate and strength in the diaspora and do?
That's not what I meant to. I already answered that.
Oh, okay.
There was another one. Oh, this is the one that I wasn't sure about.
Was it? procedure. Okay, have you gotten into Ṣàngó and this procedure when it comes to? I'm not quite sure that he has a conflict with iron.
I wasn't either. So
I think this probably still stems from the Cuban tradition, and I think what is based on is the real life event of how iron may be as a conductor for lightning, so it strikes it. At least that's what I've heard in the past of where they might get this idea that they do not like one another. But I don't know. I don't think Ogun has any iron implements now. Aganju does.
You mean Ṣàngó? He doesn't have any
I don't think Ṣàngó has any iron implements.
Not
that, but Aganju does. In fact, most of his implements are iron.
Interesting.
So, and just FYI, now that we mentioned him, he is not the divinity of volcanoes. Just to put that out there. Yes, he is connected to Ṣàngó because he comes from the same line as that Alafin, and he's directly related historically to the historical Ṣàngó. But there is no volcanoes in Nigeria, and he is definitely not the Orisa of volcanoes. This is a Santeria tradition, not an Isheshe tradition.
Getting low on cola nuts.
You're gonna be wide.
So it's definitely time to go.
He's gonna get low on cola nuts.
We have already done Baba Ogun, Brother Denzel. So yes,
it
channel, and you will find that presentation. That was actually like one of the second ones we did, or first ones we did, or something like that.
Yeah, it has to be in the top 3.
Yeah, I think it was me doing regular Deocha's influence on the African diaspora. Then I think we did Ogun. Then I think we did Eshu.
Wow.
And I did a Gungun with Oloye.
Mm-hmm. Excellent show, by the way. I keep referring that show to people.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched that show on Egungun, go back and watch the playback. Definitely worth your time. So now we're getting ridiculous questions in the chat.
What is the ridiculous question that now you got my curiosity?
You want me to show you?
Sure.
Ridiculous question number 1.
Okay, we can move on from that one. we can move on from that one.
Person doesn't know me. Would you consider oral tradition a primary source? In a sense, but not in a academic sort of way. But it's something we can build on to uncover what academia calls primary sources. In that interest, in that respect, in my opinion, because a lot of these mythological stories have real world information hidden in their language and coded in their in the way it's written, but you have to know certain things about the culture to know exactly what they're talking about. An example that me and Ogundaran both know is there's always this talk about a great calamity in early parts of what we know of the Yoruba land, but through archaeological evidence, we've discovered that there was calamities in that part during this time, although the stories don't exactly say what this calamity was. We know that there's something that's known as the Big Dry, where there wasn't any rain for long stretches of time, which affected the Yoruba people. So that's an example of mythology alluding to something that actually happened. Good question, though.
And that's all over the culture.
Right. So, as always, MossiWarriorClan, brings you information on African phenomenon for those that are confused. But we will continue this Isheshe series, this Isheshe lecture series, as always. Where is my, if you don't know how to spell Isheshe, it's at the bottom. Those are the correct diacritic or tonal marks. So, yeah, man, thank you all for stopping by. And as always, before we get out of here,
you looking at a young black king. Astro project, blast of attack, pass your neck with the shit to leave a rapper and Rex from the back of a black Acura. Bullet ricocheted and it's weight and it passed through your pecs. The assassin wet. All y'all know y'all don't have to go. Sawed off shoddy, make you potty, probably call the law. Me no gangster, I'm no tough, got me child of the most high. I get on the mic and you go, bye-bye. Devil don't test me, I throw shrapnel where your chest be. Shooting our family down in the streets, fuck the police, they ain't marching for me. Pull up, not that Rari, I ain't bad yet. I pull up, out that 85% of mass at. I put this on God, bad black is so hard. Bitch, I'm going back to Harlem in my West African garb.
go get the shirts. New Independent African Academy. Go get the shirts. Go support my brother. What SARS-CoV-2 taught me. My brother Sean. Go get Spearmasters Volume 4. We are producing and outproducing everyone. Because that's what we do. So thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. Until next time. Odabo.
Odabo.